So in March, we did just a full pivot. We stopped doing cold calling and we started just head down building conversational AI.
So many people like to define leads as, yes, I'm interested in selling my land, which that first question, you could very easily forward that to your customers. Like, here's a lead. But in reality, like, how can I give them the most qualified leads? And that's what a lot of land investors value, especially a higher level land investor.
When we said, okay, we're going to transfer you to an automated tool, it's going to tell you a bunch about your land, see if this might be a deal. When we do that AI handoff, we expected people to say, no, I don't want to, but it was less than 1% of people.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Real Estate Investing Podcast. Excited to have Brandon Parker with me today. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You are the founder of LandAI, correct? Let's just talk a little bit about, before we get into all that, your background in land, getting into this business, everything like that.
Yeah, it's been almost 3 years. When I first got in, started a call center to start bringing leads in, and then started outsourcing or giving that call center to other land investors who were interested in it. So started an agency pretty quick. After I was running the agency for about 6 months, I just realized that the main bottleneck with cold calling is just a massive amount of leads. And so I started to become obsessed with sorting through leads at scale. Like, how do we get all these leads and then get them down to something usable? Because that ultimately became the bottleneck for everyone that I worked with, and including ourselves. Like, becomes a nightmare. And so
Yeah.
that was became my obsession.
So 3 years ago, you started cold calling agency, correct, for
Mhm.
land investors. Is that accurate?
Yep, going on 3 years. March is 3 years.
Okay.
So yeah.
What were you doing previous to that?
Uh, Flipping houses. Have a laundromat. It's a
Mhm.
little bit of commercial real estate and just business.
So what kind of intrigued you about land 3 years ago?
Uh, hey, it's all the good things about real estate,
Mhm.
but without the pest inspections and the broken foundations and the all of the things that come around with having a building on it.
Mhm.
I have a story about that I talk about at this point where I imagine we had a house jacked in the air, an entire house in the air to fix a foundation, and then the market turned, and we ended up basically breaking even on a deal that I had jacked a house in
Mhm.
the air for. And just kind of looking at that, I realized, like, there's so much work that goes into like the structures on these, but I love real estate. So when I found land, it was like, oh,
Yeah.
this fits. Like, I love the whole industry. I like the people that I get to work with. It's a lot of entrepreneurs, and yeah, so perfect.
So are you like a not mindset, that's probably not, like, marketer by like trade? Is that what kind of intrigues you about this business as far as like getting leads for people, everything like that? Is that kind of what you kind of think your skill set background is?
I would say operator by
Okay.
trade, like a entrepreneur and an operator.
Okay.
I do love marketing, but what drew me to the agency was the uncapped potential to creatively like optimize and build a business.
Okay.
We got into land, and then all quickly realized that there's a lot to optimize, but it is there's some sort of there's a box around what you can end up doing.
Mm.
And so with the agency, I got to work with a ton of different entrepreneurs, which is fun, and then got to have unlimited potential for which direction I could take the business. So I kind of get the best of both worlds. I get to work in land, I get to see all the land deals, have partners in land, but I get to operate a company that could the world is my oyster and do
Yeah.
whatever I want as far as, pivoting or being creative.
So you were so you had overseas cold callers, American cold callers calling for land investors, is that correct?
Yep. When we started, it was started in Belize, moved to Philippines,
Okay.
and then now we're in Belize, Philippines, and a little bit of Egypt.
So your business, we were talking last night, and your business has transitioned a lot over, I guess, the last year. Can you talk about that transition from like a cold calling agency? Now you have LandAI.ai. And I know you had like a 6 month period where you're just like building this new business. Can you talk in detail about exactly what the transition was?
Yes. The pivot was in March, and over over the course of the first couple years of having the cold calling agency, I wanted to figure out how to sort through leads. And so the first thing we did was we started bringing in lead managers at scale. So we'd pull in cold calls, then we'd send them through human lead managers that would qualify them further, and then we would send just qualified leads to our clients. And so that was like a human in the loop iteration of that. When then we started experimenting with conversational AI. And in March, it was there where it was sounded like a real conversation. And so in March, we did just a full pivot. We stopped doing cold calling, the standard way of cold calling, and we started just head down building conversational AI.
Wow.
And then I have a team of about 5 tech people. We have our CTO, we have a full stack dev, we have a couple automations devs, and then me. And we just all went head down on building something that is trained on all the conversations that we had with our lead managers for land. So
Wow.
that was the goal. Basically, get a lead manager that's conversational AI that nails it every time. That
Mm.
has like all AJ Sharma's tricks, all Clay Hepler's, angles, like all these great things that we've learned from land investors how to qualify a lead. And then from our own lead managers, we put that all into the conversational AI to qualify leads.
So that's the outbound and the qualifier. Is that correct now?
Yeah. So now what the system looks like, it's really cool. So we still do the cold calling because we're good at cold calling after doing like 10 million calls over a couple of years. So we still do the cold calling, and that's compliance. Cold call, if someone says, yeah, I'm interested in selling, then we live transfer to our conversational AI.
Oh, wow.
And then the conversational AI takes them through a full sales conversation to qualify them. It talks motivation, pricing, timeline. And then after that goes through sentiment analysis. And then if it's a qualified lead, then it lands in the qualified section of the CRM. If it's not qualified, it lands in the nurture section of the CRM. And then our clients call the qualified ones immediately, and nurture section, we just nurture.
This is clicking for me a little bit because like I didn't know. I knew your transition from cold calling. I didn't know the exact details of what that looked like. So you're still cold calling, live transfer, and I assume the conversationalist, the AI is good enough to like they don't know that they're not talking to a person.
Actually, part of compliance is you need to disclose. And so part of our cold calling script is telling them. And so this was something that was kind of crazy because we measured in the beginning. We're like, okay, how people are just going to be like, I don't want to talk to AI. That was something we were nervous about, and we measured. It ended up being under 1% of people that would say, when we said, okay, we're going to transfer you to our automated tool. It's going to tell you a bunch about your land and see if this might be a deal. When we do that AI handoff, we expected people to say, "No, I don't want to," but it was less than 1% of people. People are just like, "Yeah, okay, let's do it."
So that's like at the end of the cold call is they let them know,
Yep.
and that didn't.
Yeah, we shortened the cold call. So cold call now is effectively is just, "Hey, are you interested in possibly selling your land? If so, okay, we have a really cool tool. We can talk to you about your land. I'm gonna live transfer you to it, and then we'll follow up with a report on what we talk about." And so we almost offer them like a little bit of a lead magnet
Yeah,
in
yeah,
there.
yeah. Does the AI have any information on the land?
Yeah. So, part of what we're doing that's really cool is so we use Land Portal,
Hmm.
and we're connected to your new API, which is fantastic. But we put all the information in a database, and then we ping that database live during the conversation, and so it knows address, estimated property value, how long they've owned it. Like, it has the details, and so it can have a pretty sophisticated conversation with them.
So this idea, it's kind of interesting. Like, what was idea to like we're stopping doing this, we're making a big pivot? How
I'm
short of a
I'm
time period
kinda
is this?
crazy. It was like a month.
Yeah.
It was like we had it, and then I started, building like an MVP, and once I had like something that was like felt like an MVP, it was like, "Okay, we're not marketing any more cold calling." I think the writing was on the wall for me. That I had 2 years of pent up, like, this is a problem that has to be solved. I had already been, like, just trying to solve the problem, and so when I found the solution, I was like, "Okay, we found it, like, stop.
Hmm.
We're
What's
building."
MVP?
Minimum viable
Okay, got it, got it,
product, yeah,
got it,
like,
got it,
just something that just worked. It was like,
got it.
"Okay, this works, we can start working on this."
And you had a time period from March where you were not collecting any money. Is that correct?
No, we kept
Cold
our
calling.
cold calling operation going, we just stopped bringing in new clients,
Got
and
it.
then if
Okay.
people churned out, we just slowly, like, condensed profits and got smaller, and we
So
yeah.
what does someone expect when they get a lead from you versus what they would have got a lead from you 12 months ago. Well, I get the nice thing is you used to even 12 months ago, you were forwarding to someone else. And I think that's so many people have like to define leads as yes, I'm interested in selling my land, which that first question, you could very easily forward that to the your customer, be like, "Here's a lead." But in reality, like, how can I give them the most qualified leads? And that's what a lot of land investors value, especially a higher level land investors value. What do they get? What can they expect from someone that is forwarded to them?
It's what I say is it's 5 times as effective. And so if we pull in 100, we used to pull in 100 leads cold calling. Now that'll turn into about 20.
Mm,
And so it's by effective, I mean the amount of time it takes to sort through them. So if there used to be about 1 or 2 deals in 100 leads that we'd send, now there's 1 or 2 deals in 20 leads
wow.
that we send. And it's really the sorting process. And so this is actually something that I had to change the expectation a little bit because the leads are still cold calling leads. They're not like we're not passing laydowns to people. It's not like here's people that
You're
just
not
want to
closing them.
give, yeah, these people want to give their property away. It's not that. Um, it is we are getting rid of the 80% or the 70% that are tire kickers. We're getting rid of the 70 to 80% that aren't going to sell. And then the other people, they're still leads. They're not ready, they're not closed, but we got rid of
Mm.
everything else.
I feel like leads is such like a buzzword in the industry. Not just our industry, just every industry is like a
Yeah.
lead. If I post a really generic like lead magnet on Facebook for any business, not even talking about land, I'm sure I can get a lot of leads for very, very cheap. But like, what is the quality of those? And what in your mind, like, helped you? Because you've had that mindset even before the AI, AI conversationalist. What in your mind kind of just like, This isn't the right way to do it. Volume doesn't matter, like, we need to get quality for our customers."
I mean, that was just directly related to our churn rate at
Yeah.
the original call center. There was this pattern where people would get 90 days in, 3 months in, and they'd be like, "Hey, it's working. You gave us too many leads. We need to pause and we're gonna sort through these leads." And it's
What
like, "Oh,
when
yeah.
did you transition from having that second touch point? Because you initially were just doing the cold calling?
Yeah." That was out so the first year, just the cold calling, and then in the second year, we started doing the second touch point because I was hitting that same thing. But then that was pretty operationally heavy, and so it was expensive. And so it was then the thing was kind of like, well, this works a little bit better, but maybe not worth
Yeah.
how expensive it is.
So you are reducing churn by giving people less leads.
Yeah,
And better leads,
yeah,
not just less leads.
yeah.
But it's a really good way, just business wise, to look at it. Like these people are trying to close deals with people that we're never going to close, I guess. Is there a worry from customers from you on that 70% meat being on the bone and that 70%? Do they get those people as well? Or like, what does that look like for the people that answer? They might get to the AI, but something on that falls apart there.
Yeah. So that is everything's transparent. So that's one way is like it falls into the nurture sequence and then it still has a full transcript. It still has notes. It shows why we sent it to the nurture sequence. And so our clients can just see exactly
Hmm.
what happened. And so sometimes they'll go in there and kind of like cherry pick and be like, "Hey, I think there might be something here." Um, and the nurture sequence, we follow up, we send them text messages and emails over time. And then if they ever engage, if they respond at all, they pop into the follow up section and then
Hmm.
our clients see it. So we still capture that value over time. And we're doing some like really cool things with that nurture sequence coming up here too. So
Real quick, guys, before we get back to the episode, if you're looking to get into land flipping, get your first land deal. We have helped so many people with our one-on-one coaching. If you guys want to schedule a call, learn more, hit the link below, landinvestingonline.com/consultation, schedule a call, and we'll help you out. That's cool. What are you seeing right now, like in the land investing space? Like you said before, like you 10 million cold calls. You see, I'm always intrigued by marketing agencies because like you guys have more touch points than so many people. What are you seeing in the land investing space right now?
it's still easy to pick up land. It seems harder to sell it. The
Mhm.
Dispo is getting harder, which is just like natural market cycles. I think that land industry professionalizing as a whole squeezing maybe some of the easier ways to close deals out in the beginning where, people could send 1,000 mailers and get a couple deals
Yeah.
and then dispo them and have 20 grand in the bank. And, it's like, I think that that is happening less often. And so the people who are operating at a high level, I feel like are almost gaining momentum or market share where the bottom's getting squeezed a bit and probably a trend that'll continue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a more skilled game, I think, than it was at one point, for sure. Are you, what was I gonna ask? Um, oh, sorry, with the AI, like, can people have different goals who come to you? Customers who have different goals come to you? Maybe they want, like, okay, Brandon, like, this is a subdivide list I brought, or like, this is a list, or is it just like, I'm trying to get the seller's intent with those conversations?
They can come with different, so we do that by data on the front end.
Okay.
And so we have a full data team
Hmm.
and they just tell us we want these markets, these filters, and this is what we're targeting. So if they were doing subdivides, it's probably going to be, 5 acres and up. And then we'll have the same conversation. So we do that with filters
Okay. So
and then we're qualifying for intent on the
okay,
fly.
so it'll be okay, that makes a lot of sense. So the data is more important than the actual conversation part in your
Yep.
mind of that. Um, Talk about some kind of success stories that you guys have had in the last, I mean, I guess you got when did you get this up and running, the AI? It's been a few months, is that correct?
Yeah, we beta launched in June, and then we, launched to our original cold calling clients who are still with us in July,
Mhm,
and then we launched to kinda stealth launched in August,
mhm,
and so it's been 3 months that we've been up and running. Our biggest client has scaled to 700 leads a month. And that's where kind of our best big data on how it's working comes from. Uh, so 700 leads a month, they've brought in 4,000 leads total. Uh, they have a 30% qualified lead rate. So out of those 4,000 leads, 30% of those have landed in pre-qualified, and then out of those, they've closed 7.8% of their transactions. They have like 49 or 50 contracts or something.
wow,
And so that seems like our that dashboard is pretty representative of like most of our clients. Those
yeah.
rates, it's like 20 to 30% become pre-qualified, and then out of those, like 7 or 8%
So
close.
700 lead so you said about 40 deals
They have 49 contracts right now. Yeah.
from 1 month.
No, no, no. This is since they were one of our original clients. They've been with us about 6 months.
Okay,
Mhm.
got it, that makes sense. Okay, I got it. And ho they're getting 700 leads a month, did you
Yeah,
say
they're
that
getting
correct?
700 leads a
Okay,
month
got
now.
it.
Yeah, they're scaled up to
Yeah.
700 leads a month right now. Yeah.
What's your kind of mindset in terms of like you guys are obviously like a premium product. Like it's not like there's no real competitors in terms of what you're doing that I'm aware of. I could be completely wrong. But obviously like a premium product. What's your kind of mindset with that? It's just like again, going back to like the quality over quantity with customers.
Yeah, I think that it lines up with where I see the industry going. It's
Hmm.
like people are going to have to be more professional to keep up. And so I think that it works for two people. It's like some people who are already operating at a professional level, they just see it and it clicks and they're like, "Hey, we wanted to add cold calling anyway. This is a way we can add cold calling without adding, 8 people to our team to scale it."
Hmm.
Um, so the people are, and then we have one of my favorite clients is he was a salesperson, so he's good on the phone, and he came into Land, and then he just came straight into our system, and he started crushing it because he had an operation. He basically plugged into an operations
Hmm.
company. So for the right people that are just trying to plug into like an operations company and they're good at selling and good at closing deals, it works for that too. Um, so yeah,
Yeah. Do you think this is scalable? Like, do you have any visions outside of land in this company, or like, what's your kind of your URLs, Land AI?
yeah.
But it seems like a very scalable way to deal with lead management.
The vision is all within Land
Mhm,
and defining the whole AI in Land space. So starting to tag tools onto what we're already doing. Our next thing is we're doing making Maya Live right now. Maya Live is going to be an inbound 24/7 service. So it's our same conversational AI. but it's going to answer any call that ever comes inbound, do the same thing and qualify it. Then we're going to do Maya Nurture, which is going to be Maya calling outbound to the leads that are in our nurture systems because our clients, for example, that one client who's getting 700 leads a month, that means that they have 500 leads or whatever it is dropping into a nurture sequence every month.
Mm,
These are people who've accepted contact, who've um, we have documented conversations with them, accepting a conversation with AI. So these are people we can reach out warm with Maya. So she can call, hey, this is Maya. We talked. Like she's a we
yeah,
talked and I was just following up. It's been 4 months. Just wondering if anything's changed. So we're gonna keep pushing down that route. Like, how do we use AI in every part of the land business in these things we can tag on to our ecosystem, the land AI ecosystem.
that makes a lot of
That's
sense.
all within our within we have a really robust CRM. It's all within there. So all this happens in that CRM.
Reducing overhead for companies and make in terms of like the amount of people. Like call centers are expensive. Answering services are expensive. Um, and I think the nice thing about the AI part is like you know what you get every single time for the most part.
Mhm.
It's gonna always improve too. Where you might get a person who had a bad day in the morning and then they are answering your call center calls or whatever it is, and you don't get as good of a results that day because Sally had a bad day. So yeah, it's definitely scalable. I like that a lot. Um, I guess so the nurture is very interesting. What do you guys see a lot of deals coming from those nurture sequences, or is it just kind of to make sure we're working the leads that have accepted those?
I don't have great data on that. We do have deals that come back through it, but I
Yeah.
haven't I don't have like percentages yet.
hmm
So it's just kind of uh, case by case. So yeah.
You talked a few times about compliance, and I think a lot of people start businesses, and I'm sure there's other people that do what you're doing in some capacity that aren't compliant. How important is that to you? And I think it's something that is going to become more regulated for sure. But it seems like you guys are pretty big on like, all right, we need to be compliant on how we're doing this, how we're communicating with them.
Yeah, at the scale that we're calling, if we weren't like really far ahead on compliance or paying attention to that, it would just be like an existential risk for us.
Yeah.
So it has to be top of list. There's people who do things as individual operators that like can operate in gray areas because whatever they're making a million calls or something, no one's going to care. But
hmm
yeah, it has to be top of mind for us. So it's I mean it's simple stuff like uh, we work with Blacklist Alliance
hmm
basically, which is a consultant and a lawyer and a team with some technology tools that we send every call through and just make sure that we're all compliant there. We get bonds in the states that we need bonds in for cold calling. We use our dialer to document all the conversations so that we can make sure that people have we've documented what we need to. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's important. And I think with just the way the world's going, how easy it is to like do some of these things at scale. Are you able to like that Maya is your call lady? Um like is it a click of a button and she'll call 500 people at the same time, or like what does that look like from curious the technology behind that?
Actually, we haven't built that yet.
Okay.
So what we do right now is we call outbound with a human and we live transfer to Maya. The Maya nurture. Next, we're doing the Maya live,
Correct.
which is going to be the inbound calls to Maya. So it still won't be outbound. And then it'll be the Maya nurture. Um, and I'm not sure if it does it sequentially or all at once.
Yeah.
We'll have to see when we get there.
What how far out is that part?
I would say 2 months out for Maya live, and then probably 3, 4 months out for Maya nurture.
Exciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it's gonna help a lot of people, I'm sure. Um What advice do you have for people in the land business right now in terms of just what you're seeing? You see a lot, like I said, like what kind of advice would you have for someone? Let's first talk about someone who's currently in the business, and then we can talk about newer people as well.
Someone currently in the business, I would say look at I mean, I would look at it from a business perspective. Like, what's the current bottleneck? That's where I usually look in
Mm,
my own business is what's the main thing that's holding us back from kind of launching to the next level right
yeah,
now? And then dedicating focus, resources, and my personal time to removing that single bottleneck. Letting other fires burn while that happens, which is really hard to do as a business owner, is like You have these little problems, but staying focused on the thing that's gonna ratchet you up a level. Um, that's how I look at business in general, and that would be for operators running a land business. For brand new people, I would say the mindset of approaching it like this is a business. It's not like a side hustle.
Mhm.
It's not like a get rich easy or here you go do this and you're gonna make 20 grand in 2 months. Because that's easy to believe that's the case, but it's a real business and it's competitive and there's people doing stuff that and they're trying to beat you at it. So
Yeah.
like take that mindset in with you.
What have you seen change over the last few years since you've been in the business?
The professionalism,
Yeah.
it was I would say that that side hustle mentality was prevalent. That's part of why land investing got so popular and got more competitive because a bunch of people came in, then a bunch of people started getting good at it. I would say that that is the main shift is that there's a higher level of operations going on now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every podcast we've done today, it's been a theme in terms of high level people we're talking to. They're all saying same thing. Like, this is a business. Like, can you do this with a full time job? Absolutely. You can get land deals with a full time job. You can do a lot of stuff with a full time job. There's a lot of time in the day. But as far as like just being able to throw stuff at the wall and like hope it works, I think we're past that kind of stuff where you need pillars of your business, KPIs, like actually understand your marketing and what's going on with your marketing, whatever that is. Sales processes, everything like that is so important where things falling through the crack is very costly nowadays. And people go out of business in this business, not because they didn't have the ability, but because they weren't following up with leads or their processes were broken. It's not like a lot of times I see people struggling in this business and I look at their business, like you said, like looking at a bottleneck. I'm like, yeah, this is completely broken. Like you have a big leak rate here, and that's why you're not successful at this moment. And just little tweaks a lot of times. But yeah, 100% agree with you in terms of business. Anything else you're seeing that's changing?
The automations and AI, I think, are going to continue to have an outweighed effect. There's so much leverage with what we can do now with those tools, and that's why I'm pressing so hard on it because I
Mm,
think that there's a window of time here where there's going to be people grabbing up a lot of the deals. I feel like with automation
yeah.
and with just technology, it's so powerful, moving so fast.
Yeah, that's really cool. Where can people find you, Brandon?
I'm on Twitter,
Okay,
Brandon Parker underscore O, and then I'm the website landai.ai, and then Legends of Land podcast.
love it. Well, I appreciate you coming on here, guys. You can find Brandon on those three places: landai.ai, his Twitter, and Legends of Land. Correct?
Legends of Land
Love
show.
it, love it. Appreciate you coming on today. If you guys are watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button below. Listen on Spotify. Share this with a friend. Tag us on Instagram. Anything like that. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks, everybody.